Good afternoon, friends. It's Valerie Ling here. I am a clinical psychologist. I'm also the director and founder of two entities, one a mental health practice called the Center for Effective Living, and another is an education and consulting business called the Center for Effective Serving. But on this page, I speak as Valerie Ling, talking to you about some of the pet topics and some of the, issues that weigh heavily on my own heart. So today I'd love to share with you the backdrop to the reason for why we have an early career psychologist mentoring program that is a collaboration between myself and Dr. Amy Talbot of the Talbot Center, and just providing you a little bit of, insight into why I would want to reach out to another private practice owner and why I would be interested in the space of burnout and leadership in reaching out to early career psychologists. So if you look at the posts down the bottom, you will see that registrations are still open. It's a free event for tomorrow evening, and it is currently international. We've got almost 400 people signed up now. That's 400 psychologists, predominantly early career psychologists. And it is going to be recorded and sent out to all those who register. So sometime last year, Amy and I, Dr. Amy Talbot and we call ourselves business best buddies. She is really the person that I go to, and vice versa, for the really confidential space to speak as clinical leaders as well as clinical supervisors of our team to figure out how do we actually help our psychologists go the distance. And in the last couple of years with the pandemic, those conversations have become profound and significant and intense, really. Last year, we realized that even within our practice, we were really concerned for the well-being of our psychologists, early career psychologists who haven't been practicing for very long, also had to deal with the disruptions and the genuine distress of our community during a pandemic, with acuity and mental health presentations going up and wait lists in Australia being very, very long. And we opened up a free webinar. I guess at that point in time, we thought that we would get a couple of hundred, in general, 200 people we thought we would attend. But we were overwhelmed by the response. And as part of the registration process, we actually also polled the registrants for what they were struggling with. And overwhelmingly, we heard how much psychologists who were so genuine and so eager to help were really being very, very hard on themselves. And so we offered the first webinar last year, and this year we're offering a follow-up webinar. The webinar is called Looking Back, Things We Wish We Knew. And it's really an aim to be authentic as leaders in this space. So authenticity as a leader is something that's becoming more and more important as we really help human beings who are trying to do their best. And most of the time, professionals who are actually burning out are the ones that have the keenest amount of passion, but also the most critical voices in their heads with regards to themselves. And so being a leader in this space means not only inspiring and providing a vision for a better tomorrow, and here we go team, this is how we contribute in that space. Leadership also means taking care, inquiring into the welfare and well-being of the people on our team, and being authentic to be able to say, I understand where you're coming from because I've felt that way too. I've made mistakes as well, and so the webinar that Amy and I are doing tomorrow evening really looks back at some of the key vulnerabilities we've had as we were developing, the things that we wish other people had told us, both in the positive and negative slant. So we've each selected 2 stories each to share tomorrow, one a positive, one a negative, in terms of how it formed us. And what we're actually hoping to do is to say that we are on a journey ourselves. We may be psychologists for a couple of decades now, but we don't have all the answers, right? And by leading that way, it leads into a space that just helps our team to be self-compassionate and to identify the genuine compassion, the genuine passion, the genuine empathy that they have, that they may forget in pursuit of excellence or in pursuit of perfection when they're trying to help others. I was reflecting today with having had an interview this morning with Ticker News, and just really talking about why is it that we seem to burn out when we're trying to help others. And one of the things that I was actually saying is that the pandemic has actually, I called it disrupted at the cellular level of our connections. And what I meant by that is the way that we connect with one another has been fundamentally shifted, fundamentally disrupted. If you're working remotely, if you're not able to see your family and friends, if you're not able to travel out of your state or your country, if the masks make it very difficult to read people's cues as well, you can't tell how people are feeling, how you actually gather insight to be empathic and compassionate and not touching and not hugging, and it has fundamentally disrupted, I call the cellular level of our connections and how we do connection. And so we really wanted to reach out to these early career psychologists to help them to see that one of the foundational things that we don't want to lose is our ability to be authentic and is our ability to connect with one another. And by basically saying we don't always have the answers, we don't always know, what the future holds, and there are plenty of times we feel like we have imposter syndrome. And then to provide some avenues to say, but here are some things that we do know. Here are some things that we can do. And one of the best ways for us to do that is to share with you that Amy and myself, that we're authentic with one another, that we reach out to help for one another, and that's what we need to do. So just sharing with you some thoughts that have come from my interview this morning and also the event that's happening tomorrow. And my question to you is, what does it mean for you how has the pandemic altered the way that you connect? And what are some ways that you would like to recover to be able to connect authentically with others? All right, take care.